Hello everyone. Today I'm going to explain how to use the empirical rule from a normal distribution curve. So centered in the middle is your population mean, mu. And you increase on the right side every time by a standard deviation, sigma. So from here to here is 1 standard deviation above the mean, 2 standard deviations above the mean, and 3 standard deviations above the mean. Then you can go the other direction, 1 standard deviation below the mean, 2 standard deviations below the mean, 3 standard deviations below the mean. And then the chart is broken down into percentages. From the center, we have 34% on either side, 13.5%, 2.35, and 0.15. Those are set percentages. Another shortcut is looking at the overall percentages within a single standard deviation. So within 1 standard deviation is 68%. Within the 2 standard deviations, 95%. And then 3 standard deviations is 99.7%. If your mean is 0 and your standard deviation is 1, as given here at the top, then your curve will look as follows. You would start with the mean in the middle, 0, and then the mean plus a standard deviation, the mean plus 2 times your standard deviation, your mean plus 3 times your standard deviation. And then you go the other direction. The mean minus a standard deviation, the mean minus 2 standard deviations, and then your mean minus 3 standard deviations. So these are the values that we use on your Z table. That's the reason why it goes from -3 to +3, and you'll learn more about the Z table in another video. But that's where those numbers come from. What if your mean was not 0? I'll give you an example. Let's say they gave you a mean of 50 with your standard deviation as a 3. You would center your mean in the middle. And then you do the mean plus the standard deviation, the mean plus 2 standard deviations, and then the mean plus 3 standard deviations. And then you go the other direction. The mean minus 1 standard deviation, the mean minus 2 standard deviations, and then the mean minus 3 standard deviations. Okay, so let me put that on a new chart. So here's our normal curve. 50 with 34% on either side. 1 standard deviation was 47 to 56. 13.5% on either side. I'm just copying the table. And then it's 2.35%. The values were 59. Excuse me, I missed a number. 53, then 56, then 59. Make sure you copy your table properly. 47, 44, and 41. Okay, so here's our table. Now, let's say they ask you to find the percent between 41 to 47. We'll go up to your chart here. You find 41, you find 47, and you're just going to add the percentages on the table. So 2.35 plus 13.5. Go to your calculator if you need to. Gives you 15.85%. Okay. What if they change the value? And instead of finding between, they could ask you to find the percent less than 44 and more than 59. So let's highlight our numbers. So 44 is here. It said less than 44. So on your chart, we're going to go towards the left. And then the other number was 59, and it said more than 59. So we're going to go towards the right. So your total percentage are these two numbers on the left and this one number on the right. So 0.15 plus 2 plus 0.15, put that in your calculator. Two point 2.65%. They could ask the question, what values give you, what values are between, excuse me, 1 standard deviation. And then same question, but what values are now between 2 standard deviations. and what values are between 3 standard deviations. So based off our chart, we know that the mean starts in the middle. So here's the mean. 1 standard deviation is 1 backwards and 1 forwards. So the values for 1 standard deviation are from 47 to 53. 2 standard deviations start from the center, 1, 2, 44, and go up to 56. So 2 standard deviations is from 44 to 56. 3 standard deviations, you go back 3, 1, 2, 3, 41, go up 3, 1, 2, 3, 59. So 3 standard deviations is 41 to 59. You don't have to use the table to answer this question. You can also use the formula. So to answer 1 standard deviation, you take the mean minus a standard deviation to the mean plus 1 standard deviation. That was 50 minus 3, which is 47. 50 plus 3, 53. And these numbers match the values we had on our picture. You do the same thing with 2 standard deviations. You take the mean plus 2 standard deviations. That's where 56 came from. And the mean minus 2 standard deviations. That's where 44 came from. This covers the empirical rule. Let me go back up to the table. Again, these percentages in the table are set in stone. These do not change. The percentages don't change as well here. So 1 standard deviation is always 68%. 2 standard deviations, 95%. 3 standard deviations, 99.7%. Mean in the middle, and then you always go up a standard deviation on the right, go down standard deviations on the left.